Hello, beloveds. Happy new moon in Aquarius. Really feeling the energy shifting into more of this collective field. Very curious to hear any feedback on how y'all have been doing, on the patterns that have been showing up, and how available you are for the new beginnings and the new seeds that are being planted right now. There seems to be something very relative with detoxification at this point. Like, I'm noticing a lot of people feeling bogged down, becoming sick, feeling like a bit stuck. It's something that I'm noticing quite frequently, especially in the last few days. And for me, it's like my rising, my moon's Aquarius, so it's an archetype that I feel very intimately connected with. And one of the things that I'm experiencing personally in myself is this shift in my heart and my availability, and like starting to balance out my mind with my heart, which Aquarius is an air sign, so it's very heady, it's very forward thinking, it's great at planning, but it sometimes is like an either or. It's like, if I've got to plan and think forward, then I also can't be connected with my heart. And what I'm exploring in myself is, what's it like to bring the two in union and in partnership together. And I'm finding that as I do that, and I'm feeling more, emoting more, grieving more, that it's a bit easier to flow forward instead of needing to structure, which it feels a bit more Capricornian. And that's kind of where we're at, right? Like, we're actually watching in the US the old structures completely being dismantled and broken down, and that is creating the space for this more collective way of being together and of organizing ourselves. So even when I say the word structure, it feels like rigid. And maybe that's because I'm like feeling it more in the Capricornian way. But Aquarius is very organized. It kind of has like this understanding of design, and it flows in the design. So all of that to say, I don't know if any of that is relative, if any of you are experiencing that, but let's go ahead and just bring in the energies for this transmission, calling on the highest light of truth. Light of source, and asking for the revelations and messages, the wisdom to help process the energy that we are currently assuming and experiencing, to also help us identify the best ways to make the most of this energetic cycle under this new moon in Aquarius. And in full thanks, so be it. Major energy shifts, timelines really becoming a bit more clear. And for this, speaking of timelines, the theme of this reading for the collective and for self is after the rain. So it's silver lining, acceptance, mercy, it's over, relief, hope. This is how I feel. And that, I would say, is based on how much availability you've given to your current experience and to the emotions that have arisen during this last lunar cycle, and like how available have you been to feel and process and allow the intelligence that's behind that particular messaging to render greater understanding and acceptance, so that you can be in the forward flow of life. We're limited to how much we can flow when there's a backlog of unprocessed information, because we're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what direction to take. Well, it's because in those emotions is information that brings a expanse of awareness that then allows you to have the experience that provides, I guess it's just the experience, right? It provides the experience that allows you to know, to feel, to trust where you're headed, to trust the signs and the synchronicities that are being delivered. And to remember that, especially if you feel yourself struggling and you're like, man, I don't feel like there's a silver lining. I feel like I'm down in it. Remember that there's this unseen realm of support if you ask for it. That there are angels and masters and saints who are here to help humanity. And it feels, particularly as what I'm reading here in this, is that they're on standby. And that there's a great collective, a great collective washing, irrigation that's occurring. And the transformative action that we can take is to become the witness, to watch and in that observance understand why. Because when we understand why behind something, why we have a certain feeling about something or thoughts, then we come to understand self. When we understand self, then we can understand the role that we're supposed to be playing in the greater organism, in the ecosystem. And then where this allows us to arrive is at the heart of the sky. So let me read a bit from this deck. And I'd love to see in the comments how many of you feel like you are completing a chapter, maybe a very difficult chapter, and that you're coming out on the other side and that you can see the sun. And curious how many of you feel like you're just still really deep in it and that you can't, and that you feel maybe a little hopeless even. There's no right or wrong for either of those. These are just different ends of the spectrum. They're polarities. And so I'm curious to hear what everyone's experiencing. And in that, even being able to see the greater picture by seeing it all, including it all. There's this phenomenon happening back in the States where people are really focused on something being good or being bad, something being right or being wrong. And what is being overlooked is that it doesn't really matter how you dress it up. It's still separation. It's still judgment. It's I don't want to use this term. It's like an American phrase of like a pig wearing lipstick. But it's still the same thing, and you think it's different because it looks different, it sounds different. but it's mimicking the same thing. It's still showing us how we're separate and how we project and judge and put our shadow onto these figures and onto these systems. And what that's supposed to, this time is supposed to show us that we do that we judge ourselves, that we separate that part of ourself, and we say, oh no, but this is different. I'm not like that. But some part of you is, or else it wouldn't have the need to engage in such a charged way. You might be indifferent if there wasn't a polarity inside you. So, after the rain, there's something very special and sacred about the moment after it stops raining. The atmosphere has released all that it was holding, and in turn, the earth has been cleansed, replenished, and nourished. It's a similar feeling to the moment after we stop crying. As those salty, healing waters fall, they activate oxytocin and endorphins, which create a shift in how we feel. What was once overwhelming now seems possible. And while we may not know it can consciously, noticeable growth will soon follow. After the rain is about hope, healing, beginnings, and endings. Emotions are soothed, broken hearts are on the mend, times of trial are over, and mercy can be felt. There's a moment of relief. A new, encouraging silver lining can now be made out in the distance. What's been challenging and difficult has or is about to ease up. So what is your current lens of the world? Like, do you have this feeling of dread or terror, or that things are just going really, really bad in the world? And if that's the case, it's a good opportunity to acknowledge all of the inner landscape that could be triggering that mirrored response. And if you feel like things are advancing and progressing and moving in the right direction, then that too is an indication of what's happening in the inner architecture. So just keeping that in mind in your self-assessment, and knowing that neither is right or wrong, but both of them are there to show you something that brings a greater sense of unity, oneness, consciousness, love. And in this reading, there's this call to go beyond your thinking mind, to work with the angels in particular. Knowing that the angels have a jurisdiction beyond what most humans do. And there's this part about being alone, thinking that we're alone, when really we've just been under the illusion. We've been in the dream, and the veil lifts, and you see that you've never been alone. You've always had these guides and angels around you. You've had your higher self. You've had ancestors with you this whole time. All the times that you were crying, all the times that you were screaming, all the times that you were scared, they were always there. And it's time to get in touch with that and to really create some sacred space to commune in that way, and to restore your faith and your trust in that. And if you do so with an open heart, with a sincere heart, what you will find is confirmation. They will provide confirmation. So it is the work of this particular cycle to observe. How much can you observe and not do? Is it time to take action? Or do you need to just observe and witness the impulse in your own body? Maybe some of the strong feelings that drive you to distract or to change the circumstances before you've really fully understood them. So the witness observes without engaging in any action. By cultivating inner stillness, we are able to assess any situation from a higher perspective and therefore make better decisions. When we can be present for someone else's difficulties with stillness, then we are truly able to hear them and give better advice. Sometimes we can be so still that we are a mirror for others. Then, through our presence, they receive their own answers. So the witness has been by your side all along and is now ready to become your ally. You thought you were the doer, but today you discover that things happen when you get out of the way. Witness creation unfolding before you. Change reality by finding stillness and letting your true intent reveal itself. Do not fall back on controlling patterns. Instead, take a few deep breaths. Connect with the joy of not having to perform. Hold space for the world to keep spinning on its own. Things are all falling into place. And where this leads us, if we're able to withstand our own impulse to change, to run away, to do, then we reach this point of coherence with the greater intelligence of love. The heart of the sky is the love force that made all creation possible. The same force is present when you create with originality, when you bring formlessness to form or inspired ideas to expression. This primeval force does not know good or bad. It is up to us to provide the clear intention that will guide it to manifest. The heart of the sky helps us call in beauty from the invisible world and birth it in the world of matter. The heart of the sky brings you a sacred reminder that you are a channel for the original energy of creation. Become the paintbrush, the canvas, the artist, all guided by the heart of the sky. Set your intention ethically and clearly and allow the universe to take care of the details. You may feel responsible for everything and everyone, and perhaps you think you have to do it alone. This takes you into a dark place where you lose trust in the natural order of the cosmos. So shed your lofty sense of duty and recognize that this is a false prison of your own making. You can open the door and set yourself free in an instant. Yeah? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I feel to, maybe pull another card here. Just to get a little bit more clarity for personal. Yeah. So seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. Anna, grandmother of Yeshua. I've felt Divine Mother really, really strongly as of late, and I have noticed that she's offering great resources to those of us who have ears to hear and eyes to see. And with this card, it speaks of her as the ancient mystic who dedicated her life to laying the foundations for Christ consciousness to be woven through all of life. She is not widely known, but without her, Christ consciousness should not be rising as it is today. Anna represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. She represents the generations that came before that devoted their lives to dreaming a new world into being, while knowing that they would not see the glorious end result. She represents the dutiful soldier, the unconditional mother, and the mystic who can see the thread that is woven through all of life. Anna teaches us that we all have a part to play in the divine plan. It doesn't have to be on the world stage to be significant. One person's part is not worthier than another. One person's part may be to mother their children. Another's may be to gather women in circle each month. No part is better or worse, more important or less significant. We each have within us a seed of light that we incarnated to share. Anna is gathering us all to remember and surrender to our part of the plan. Feels very short and sweet and to the point that, yes, there's still like a crumbling and a decomposing that's taking place, but there's more life being birthed than there is destruction at this particular juncture. And this is what the new moon is. It's the peak, the heightened peak of creation. This is the point where there's the most mana or prana, life force, chi, to birth and promote life, to promote creation. And so that feels like a bit of a promise. It feels like the light at the end of the tunnel or the silver lining. Yes, like we are going through massive change of the foundations of our lives and of society, of the world. Like the actual geographic world is changing its foundations. And at the same time, there's real physical goodness that's coming online. These beautiful new beginnings that we can see taking place. And to call on the angels for the support, guidance, to receive what's for us and to release what's not, to hold us as we witness it all unfold and commune with the greater cosmic intelligence of love. So maybe even calling on the archetype of the grandmother and connecting with your own grandmother, allowing that wisdom, that stillness to permeate and to resonate for you, and providing a template by which you may be able to embody more of this wise way of holding space for what is becoming. I hope that this message serves you well. You receive all the transmissions that are meant to align and guide you into deeper rest and fulfillment in your life purpose. And until we meet again, stay pure and keep it simple. Pura vida.